Good morning. It is a lovely, cool morning here in mid-August. We've had a lot of rain lately, and it's just lovely. You can see how lush and green everything is, even this nice tilled yard behind me here. But today I'm going to talk about something that's not very pleasant. Somebody shared a story with me and a video with me about a so-called autistic girl in Leeds, over in England, across the pond, being arrested by, of course, corrupt, evil anti-white police, because allegedly a autistic girl said to her mother about a police officer, "That looks like my Nana the lesbian." Now, I don't think anyone sane, even someone who happens to be homosexual, I don't think anyone sane would consider that hate speech, and I don't see how anyone sane could think that you need to arrest a special needs person for saying, "That looks like my Nana the lesbian." Like, I don't care if the autistic person of question, who I think was either 15 or 16, so not like a little kid, but, you know, a child, a child. I think that if you... I don't see how anyone can be comfortable or think that it's acceptable for the cops to come to someone's home and say, "I heard your special needs child say that someone looks like a lesbian, so I have to arrest them." That's beyond the pale. And yet, it happened. It happened. It happened in Leeds, England. I had to stop for a loud moving truck, and the gentlemen were very talkative. They were very friendly. They talked to me about my Go Free jersey. I got to witness to them a little bit. Anyway, where was I? Yes. I don't see how anyone in their right mind could think that it is acceptable to arrest a special needs youngster for saying that person looks like my Nana a lesbian, and consider that anywhere close to an offense, let alone something to come to their house and terrorize them and arrest them. Now, I know that this is not a unique occurrence. This has happened hundreds, if not thousands of times now in the United Kingdom. I've seen videos of this going back to 2015, 2016. This is not something new. It's been happening a lot. So let's talk about it today. Why? Why does this happen? Now, we oftentimes talk about Antiwhitism being the root cause of things. And this is going to be a treatise on exactly why that is. Culturally, systemically, governmentally, corporately, and personally. All the things that we in the Go Free method call anti-white or anti-whitism. This represents the things that have led to this hollowed out, ugly, nasty, anti-us sentiment, this fracturing, atomization, this stripping of personhood in our own minds and hearts. Well, let's start with the officer that took offense. She does look like a lesbian, but she's not ugly. She just looks homosexual. Physiognomy doesn't lie. Autistic kids are good at pointing out things like physiognomy. They're good at pointing out factual things that they don't understand or comprehend, social niceties that would tell them not to say or do certain things. They just say or do them. And it is raining a bit on me, so if I have to stop and wipe off the phone cam here, forgive me. So we'll start with the officer. She clearly identifies as homosexual, I suppose. She looks like one, and she took offense to it, so I guess so. So what would lead an officer to be that way? And then what would lead her to be an officer? And then what would lead her to want to arrest a special needs child for something so innocuous? Well, this is why. The reason why we say anti-whitism is the root of all this is because of these reasons. This woman clearly has an axe to grind. This woman clearly does not have a grounded, healthy sense of self, nor does she have a community, a husband, a family that will support her and make her feel protected, that makes her feel grounded. So what does she look for that as a surrogate? Corporations, entities, governments that will give her fulfillment and a place and security. But we know that that's just fake. This anti-white establishment hates us. And so yes, they say, yes, white woman, we can give you inclusion, but you can't be heterosexual and you can't be a woman of faith unless it's a non-white faith. You can be that. They say, yes, white woman, you can be part of the team as long as you don't like white men, as long as you don't like those heterosexuals, as long as you don't like those nationalists, as long as you don't like those people that aren't anti-white enough, then you can sit with us. Then we will give you protection. Then we'll give you an identity and meaning and fulfillment. And so her and millions like her take that option. They'll be transgender. They'll be homosexual. They'll be sniveling yes men at a corporation. They'll be weak-willed, spineless shills in the government. Because they want protection and they want to feel like they're connected to something and that their life in society matters. Because nothing around them gives them that naturally. It's been stripped from us by people who hate us. I'm not saying every single person in government, media, and business is sitting there rubbing their hands greedily, just waiting for the white people to die. That's not true. But there are a lot of people like that. There are a lot of people who hate all whites, or the English-speaking world, or who hate heterosexual Christians. There's a lot of ugly people in media and government and corporations that hate all of us traditional-minded folk. They hate us. They want us gone. They can't stand that we have something stronger than them. They are truly godless, soulless mongrels. And yet, they've taken power. They're in control now. And so what do? They're doing everything they can to poison our hearts and minds from birth. Think about this likely homosexual woman, this lesbian woman that was a cop. Do you think she has strong moral fiber if she's willing to show up with other white men, by the way, other white male police officers, insert herself and others into this woman's small apartment, make a big scene, and arrest her special needs daughter? Do you think that woman is healthy? Do you think those men with her have a healthy sense of belonging and community to their fellow English? No, they don't. Or they wouldn't do that. This is why in the Go Free method, we say anti-whitism, an erosion of ethnic, racial, communal bond is what is behind all of this. We have to fix that. We have to do something about that. We have to build community around an identity that is bigger than just atomized individuals. We have to use our words to counter the hostile anti-white lies and manipulations that come at us from the womb. Tiny little children's books full of anti-white mind cancer. And it doesn't end after that. Cartoons, comic books, things on TV, sport ball, preachers behind pulpits. These anti-white meme pathogens come at us all the time. They're in everything, teaching us to be stoic individuals while at the same time wanting us to all have some kind of collective guilt for reparations and affirmative action and welfare and God knows what. This stuff is baked into our culture and we have to unbake it or remake it. I'm of the mind of remaking. Some people are in the mind of rebaking. So we'll have to meet in the middle somewhere, people. But this story, it really clawed at me. Because I see this otherwise probably fairly okay looking blonde white woman in Leeds. But she's got the lesbian haircut. She's got the angry pursed mouth, hateful homosexual stare. We all know it. We've all had it. Looking at this woman and her autistic daughter, spitefully, hatefully, accusing her of homophobia, spitefully, hatefully, jealously wanting to take that woman's daughter. Why do you think she wanted to do that? Is it because deep down she's hollowed out, spiteful, angry, and jealous that she's not a mother, that she doesn't have a daughter, that she wants to take that bond? I got interrupted by a truck. Do you think that that's why she did it? That she spitefully, hatefully saw something she couldn't have, and that deep down she knew she wanted, but was deprived of, was lied to, manipulated into a life of homosexuality and enslavement by an evil state that hated her and didn't want her to produce, wanted to have her on birth control and talk her into doing self-destructive, selfish behavior, homosexuality, who knows what other kinds of degeneracy she was talked into, pressured into. And she's an officer of the law in Leeds. And so she uses that opportunity to say, look at this. Look at this woman who's not anti-white enough. She has a daughter that I can't have. I sense a bond of love and family there that I've been deprived. So I jealously want to, if I can't have it, take it from them. I'm going to take it from this woman. I'm going to hurt her. Jealous, spiteful mutants. And we're going to see this more and more as anti-whitism spreads. Anti-whitism is basically the enshrined state religion now in the Anglosphere. We have to end it, or it's going to end us. And it sickens me. It sickens me to know that this happens thousands of times a day all across our civilization, when it shouldn't. This should never happen. We shouldn't have angry, spiteful, homosexual mutants in our law enforcement. We shouldn't have any kind of spiteful mutants in our law enforcement, but that's almost who they all are. I mean, in big cities. I'm not talking about rural sheriffs and things like the cops around here. I mean, in all of these big major cities of centers of living, we see, how many thousands of videos a year do we see of these despicable mongrels wearing a uniform and a badge, doing despicable, horrible things to their own people? How many times a year do we see it? I have to look at the news every week, and I see this kind of shit multiple times a week in the small amount of time that I go sifting through the news. And that's just talking about cops. That's it. How many other times does anti-whitism strike in this same way? By spiteful preachers, by spiteful principals at schools, teachers at schools, bosses, HR ladies. How many times does this happen every day? How many thousands or millions of times a day does that anti-white viper reveal its fangs and plunge those fangs into the neck of a white person just trying to get by, just trying to get a promotion, just trying to live life and make money to feed their fucking kids? How many times a day does that happen? I bet a lot. I don't know what to do about it. I moved out here to the country where I belong. I know that it's selfish of me to say so, but I don't know if our cities can be saved. Because I see every day when I go looking into the news just how bad it's getting in all of our big cities. It's really, really dangerous and bad for us in our cities. Anyway, I just wanted to vent about this. I wanted to put it in your guys' heads that anti-whitism is not just a blue-haired idiot from school that's some 19-year-old shrieking about reparations and patriarchy. No. It is an endemic, awful, horrible disease that plagues all of us. And it makes itself manifest in the nastiest and most evil of ways. Like this police officer in Leeds. Anyway. Just don't be like that. You have to rise above. You have to be better than that. You have to find a way to be kind and noble and good, especially to your own people. Especially, but you should be good and kind to everybody. Oh, I'm always a little late on the draw when a frog jumps. A big old frog just jumped off the bank into the water there. Well, I guess that's a good place to end it. We'll end it on a positive note, a cute frog in a little pond. Anyway, my heart goes out to that woman and her autistic daughter. My heart also goes out to that spiteful mutant, that hateful, jealous, probably homosexual police officer. My heart goes out to her too, because I know what that's like. To be misled, to be gaslit, to be manipulated into being part of something, to fill a void in you. I was manipulated like that when I was younger too. They pulled me in. They tried to use me. It was a really ugly feeling, and I'm glad I broke away from it. But a lot of people never do. They never do. I hope y'all have a good week. Hope and pray. Do the right thing. Keep it Promethean.